It's me again, so Vicky. So my name is Vicky, and I'm working in the data-driven decision support system and machine learning to support the personalized pathway, especially working with clinicians in the NHS and how to use the multimodal data to provide decision support. And as our colleague Mark, Rob, and Sergey has mentioned about remote blood processing and the data generated from remote blood monitoring, how could we use it? So I will give some examples and what are the futures and opportunities in our network to fill in the current gap and the future directions of the research in making use of data in the clinical decision support in practice. So I would like to give an example about data in comparison between the routine blood test and the remote blood monitoring. At the moment, our current practice, we normally take a routine blood test, and what data we've got is just a snapshot of a single and fixed time point of the data. So we can only get a part of the information of your health status in a single time point of your lifetime. And what you've got is also just normal ranges. Are you within the normal ranges of the biomarker, or are you in the abnormal ranges, which is based on population reference? But we will need more detailed information for example, early detection. We need more longitudinal data. So this is where our remote blood monitoring come in. So once we got the more frequent point of care testing, as well as the wearable monitoring data, we will be able to get more longitudinal information about the biomarker trajectory or different multiple biomarker trajectory information over the lifetime health status. That will give you a lot more information, rich information about the individual variability of the biomarker changes, and also that give you more information beyond just normal and abnormal. So for example, you will be able to look at the changes of your health immunity and see what these changes may indicate some disease. So that will help a little bit about the early detection or triage. And so the data from the blood monitoring, if we got the successful sensor and the portable device, the point of care devices, we'll be able to connect this data together to have multimodal biomarker trajectory. So for example, we'll be able to know the glucose, white blood cell, platelets, all the different biomarkers, for example, cancer biomarkers, cardiac biomarkers, or inflammatory biomarkers, in terms of giving a more longitudinal view about this trajectory of the changes at the individual level. And also we'll be able to get the healthcare data, different type of healthcare data, clinical notes, and other type of pathology data, and electronic health record, genetic data, imaging, and also medicine and drug data together to look at as a patient lifetime about your trajectory, longitudinal health data status, together with your electronic healthcare record, and also electronic healthcare where your hospital visit is recorded in the time series format. So with those data, we will be able to give a very new insight about health status, about, for example, abnormality detection in a very detailed level, individual level, and see why this patient, the variability of your biomarker trajectory is different with other people, and what happened to this person, and why people respond differently to the different treatment. I will also be able to get a risk stratification for some disease, for example, the cancer, inflammatory, and also give early detection of the disease and help more accurate, more timely referral and triaging for the patient and also doctors. And that will be also give you more information for doctors to look at, okay, this is this we should do certain things. For example, they give the personalized medicine according to the data we've got from the remote blood monitoring. I just give two examples. The first example is our collaborative work with Royal Berkshire Hospital, and where Thingy is also here, so she will give more information from clinical point of view of the second session. Well, and I will give more from technical point of view. So what we have done is in our hospital, we have the continuous glucose monitoring for the type 1 diabetic patient. So as you can see with the patient with a sensor, and they will be able to continuously monitor the blood glucose, and often every 5 minutes or every 15 minutes. that case, we'll be able to have a longitudinal view about the variabilities of your blood glucose, and also that lead to a new metrics of measuring your blood glucose, not just the single blood glucose value or HbA1c value, but it's more about longitudinal information. For example, time in ranges, how much time you spend in a normal ranges or how much time you spend in abnormal ranges. And also we have done further research. My student Nicholas Chen and the Xingjing and myself have been looking at in more detailed longitudinal data to see if we can use machine learning methods to identify the blood glucose fluctuation signatures, and if we could do the time series clustering to identify different type of patients glucose fluctuation and how they use insulin therapies in response to different insulin therapies. So we managed to get the different 4 phenotypes of fluctuation patterns. And you can also see on the right-hand side, different patients, they have really different blood glucose fluctuation patterns. And that can help to give more information about maybe a different insulin therapies for different patients. So that will give you more information in diabetes patient, but Xingjing will give more information in her in her presentation in the second session. And then, another example that we use data to predict to help the personalized pathway is the early detection of inflammatory arthritis. This is another project with Royal Berkshire Hospital with our colleagues who's also here, Anthony Bradlow and Tony Chen together, and also my student Bing. So we're looking at how could we use, because quite a lot of disease, at the beginning, by the early stage, the symptoms are very vague. So how could we use blood test result as well as some EPROM information and also GP notes information to help to provide more accurate information for the triage, to help the patient to triage to the right clinics, for example, to recommend to the inflammatory arthritis or recommend to the other inflammatory conditions specialists or to other services, and use those data, blood test data, and also all the other data together. We will be able to get different phenotypes of patient, and also on the other hand, not only early detection, but also we will be able to do the drug monitoring to see how the different patient responds to the different drugs by using those data. So this is just a brief the technical architecture that my student Bing has done to see how we integrate different multimodal data to come up with the decision support system in early detection, which has reached, I think, a really good result at the moment. And but if you have more question, you can ask me and also my colleagues, Anthony Bradlow and Tony Chen for clinical panel will explain to you. So this is just 2 examples, but we have in our network, we are looking at more examples, not only in diabetes and inflammatory arthritis, we are looking at other diseases, for example, cancer and other chronic diseases as well, to see how this circle, the whole end-to-end loop can help in different disease, and also how the challenges in the digital, for example, data connectivity is one thing, although we have example, but we still have a lot of things to do for the data security, privacy, data provenance, especially when we have new metrics because of the longitudinal monitoring. How could we manage those? And also the personalized analytics and AI. So how could we develop the more adaptive self-learning algorithm to provide individual personalized decision support, as well as how could we use AI in analyzing blood samples outside the hospital, outside the laboratory. So that is 2 different angles of AI, and how to make it explainable and responsible. I think Jeremy will tell you a bit more about the artificial intelligence aspect in his presentation. So that is a quick example of my presentation focused on digital and personalized analytics. Thank you very much.